Let's start with a live look at Loveland Ski Area, or in the area of the tunnels there along I-70, where it's been a mess all day. Issues continue tonight.
To Coors Field we go, where there was no baseball played tonight, probably for the best. The Rockies were supposed to host the Washington Nationals before the matchup was postponed to Sunday.
Elitch's is also making a shift because of the weather. Amusement Park in Denver has pushed tomorrow's opening day to Sunday.
The reason? On the radar. The current system impacting a lot of the state is expected to stick around through some of tomorrow before it finally moves out.
9 News meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen's earning the paycheck tonight. Hey, Corey.
Hey Kyle, yeah, we're getting some of the best snow showers that we've had all day here in the 9 News backyard right now, and it's going to continue till about noon tomorrow. Not this good. It could be this good until about midnight, and then it goes more isolated and light into the morning hours tomorrow. But we've still got quite a bit of storm left here. Take a look at the radar picture once again. You can see those snow showers stretching all the way down the I-25 corridor down to the New Mexico state line. And that is where the center of the storm will be located, down to the south. But here in the Denver metro area, you can see the reflections coming off of the snowflakes on the radar. That's what that yellow and blue is all over us. That's some pretty good snow showers right now here in the Denver metro area. We could get another 1 to 2 inches of snow overnight, so that will be part of the impact. But really, the cold temperatures are going to start to make the roads, make that snow a little bit more impactful. So be careful. Look for icy spots tonight and especially tomorrow morning as those temperatures drop into the middle 20s here in the Denver metro area, and we could carry at least a flurry all the way until about 11 o'clock tomorrow as those temperatures gradually start to warm. I'll have more on the forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Today is not a day you wanted to be at the airport, as this spring snow is just slowing things down at DIA. Flight
tracking site FlightAware shows dozens of flights have been canceled out there, hundreds more delayed. Our Colton Chavez is out at the airport talking with folks waiting out the weather. Colton?
Kyle, this is I guess a sign of good news. We've been here all day long, but TSA is actually more crowded now than it was earlier. So that must mean that people are now kind of getting a move on to hopefully get on these flights. But for some people, that delay was a couple of hours. For others, they're not getting out until tomorrow morning. And among all of this uncertainty, we learned there is one thing travelers are for sure of.
Your attention, please. Your attention, please.
One could argue there are 3 certainties in life: death,
all TSA check,
taxes, and if you had to guess why we're here, what do you think we're asking people about today?
You know, I'd probably think that you're going to ask about why the flight's being canceled. I've been looking out the windows and I don't see it snowing.
News crews covering air travel when it snows.
Well, you're talking about delays, and the delays people are having.
What would make you guess that?
Because it's normal when you travel, period.
Delayed flights that turn these terminals into staging areas for journalists. What story are you guys working on?
I know, man. Hey, something new, something happened down the street.
It's a familiar story with an uncertain ending for people who just want to get home.
We've looked into it and they're talking 3 p.m. tomorrow. And it's like there's no other plane that can take us today.
While the weather can't grant any guarantees.
Yeah, we were supposed to get out of here 8:30. Now we're looking at what, 10?
Families say there are certainly worse things than delays.
You know, at least so far not canceled. You know, we've had our share of cancellations.
TSA has limited the items that... A little lesson that we learned tonight is if you plan on flying out of DIA tomorrow, we may be seeing a little bit of weather as well. Just be sure to get on your apps and check those flight statuses. Live at DIA tonight, Colton Chavez, 9 News.
Now back up to the mess in the mountains. Colorado State Patrol says they are frustrated by the amount of crashes we saw today that shut down I-70. No surprise, a handful of those trucks involved did not have chains on. CSP says 6 truckers got tickets today, including one trucker who tried to make it seem like they were following the law after the fact.
After the truck was already blocking the roadway, when troopers approached, they were trying to put on chains. Yeah.
CSP says it was too late for that driver to avoid the more than $1,100 ticket. Pretty cheap, though, considering the CDOT says every hour that I-70 is closed costs the state about $2 million in economic impact.
We've made it easy for you to stay up to date on the latest conditions as the storm moves through. You can find all these updates on our 9 News app. It's free to download in the Apple and Google Play Store. A man from Broomfield will spend the rest of his life in prison for stalking and killing his wife. Daniel Krug was sentenced for first-degree murder today after prosecutors say he beat and stabbed his wife, Chris Steele, in her home just days before Christmas in 2023. She'd been receiving threatening texts and emails from who she thought was an ex-boyfriend. Investigators later found out the IP address used to send those messages originated from her husband's workplace. Krug tried covering up the crime by disabling their home security system, staging fake text messages, even covering the doorbell camera with tape. Chris Steele's family called today's sentencing the first step towards healing.
There's no amount of justice that can bring her back. But it is a relief to know that the person who thought he was going to get away with it, with this convoluted alibi picture and trying to blame it on somebody else, that didn't happen.
Krug was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Key witness took the stand today in the trial of Joseph Koenig, one of 3 young men accused in the rock-throwing death of 20-year-old Alexa Bartel. Koenig's friend, Nicholas Karolchik, told the jury that it was Koenig who threw the rock that killed Bartel as she drove in Jefferson County in April of 2023. 3 men were originally charged with first-degree murder, but Karolchik and a 3rd suspect took plea deals and agreed to testify against Koenig. Today, Karolchik admitted that he lied to investigators at first. He blamed the other teenager in the truck for throwing the rock. He says it was loyalty to his friend that kept him from telling the truth.
So, like he had been doing all night, he, with his left hand, threw it out of the driver's side window into the path of the car that was oncoming.
Had you had enough time to identify Miss Bartel as a target?
No, we had just seen the car coming at us, and that was that.
Prosecutors wrapped up their case today after 5 days of testimony. Defense is expected to start its work on Tuesday.
An elementary school in Weld County that's been shut down for nearly 2 weeks because of an oil well blowout has the green light to reopen, but now we're just waiting to hear when that will happen. Gailton Elementary has been closed since April 7th. That was a day after a Chevron well northeast of Greeley blasting, spraying water, oil, and gas into the air. About a dozen homes within a half-mile of the well were evacuated. The school is not in that evacuation zone, but health officials said they needed to make sure it was safe for the kids to go back. And today, they announced that it was. They say Chevron hired companies to clean up the school, remove and replace the gravel and mulch, and swap out all the HVAC filters. Air monitoring will continue there for the foreseeable future. At last check, families near the Chevron well are still evacuated tonight, and it's not clear when that will change.
Sunday marks 26 years since the Columbine shooting claimed 13 lives. Every year, the Columbine community holds a day of service to honor the victims. Since Easter falls on a Sunday this year, it was held today. More than 1,000 people took part in more than 60 service projects around Littleton. Caught up with members of the Columbine baseball team at Food Bank of the Rockies.
Obviously, there's a thing that everyone knows the school for. But we'd like to change that. We'd like to be known for, giving back to the community, being the people that people look up to when they're looking for hope in dark times.
This year, the community is also remembering shooting survivor Anne-Marie Hochhalter. She died from sepsis in February at the age of 43. Last month, the coroner ruled her death to be a homicide, a result of the 2 gunshot wounds she suffered at Columbine.
A federal judge says he's not going to micromanage how the White House handles its new press rotation system. This comes after the Associated Press complained that officials were going against his earlier ruling, which overturned a ban on the media outlet at presidential events. The White House took the Associated Press out of the press pool this week. The press pool is a small group of reporters that rotate access to the White House. Today, the judge acknowledged that under this new system, the AP hasn't been chosen often this week to join the press pool, but he said the new system did appear to comply with his previous ruling.
An article on the Air Force's website honoring a woman from Colorado is back up tonight after it was purged by the Trump administration, along with other stories about women and people of color. Earlier this week, our Mark Salinger's report on Colonel Nicole Malachowski went viral. She was the fighter pilot who was the first woman to make the prestigious Thunderbirds team. The Trump administration memory holed an article about her, saying it was diversity, equity, and inclusion. The article was reposted to the Air Force website today.
A couple more bills that tighten restrictions on gun and ammo sales will soon be law. Democratic Governor Jared Polis signed 2 bills today. One keeps anyone younger than 21 from buying ammunition. There are exceptions for shooting ranges and for people in the military or with hunting certifications. Gun stores will also be required to keep ammo behind the counter. The other bill requires gun show organizers to implement more security measures, to have liability insurance, and to follow the state's 3-day waiting period for gun purchases. Polis signed a bill last week that requires in-person training to buy certain semi-automatic guns, so all 3 of those bills are set to take effect next year.